Back to Squawk with me, Bruce Whitfield. Elon Musk has executed some crazy ideas over the years, and scary part is some of them have even worked. The South African-born entrepreneur co-founded PayPal in 1998. He sold the online payment service to eBay 4 years later for $1.5 billion. Not bad from a boykie from Pretoria. He also helped start the electric car company Tesla Motors, which has a market value of about $18 billion. There's a list of 12 things that Elon Musk now wants to build. We got the crazy top 5: the Hyperloop, supersonic electric jet, the reusable rocket, cars with autopilot. Oh, come on, that's being done by Google. And then, surprise, surprise, the 80,000 person colony on Mars is perhaps the craziest. Would you volunteer, Paul Theron?
No, that's a one-way ticket apparently. You go to Mars and then you're stuck there. But I don't know, Mars does seem to be looking up, because remember, it was the red planet and totally inhospitable, but they discovered some water there and, you know, with energy sources. So that's where we're going, humankind, off to Mars.
And they've got Wi-Fi there, though.
Not yet, but they will have. Once Elon's been up and
You'd have to have a big
I just want to call home, that's all.
Some water.
Hi, Linda, this is where I am.
Well, somewhere where she can't reach you. Fantastic. Yeah. But the idea of colonies on Mars, I mean, we've been talking about this for years. The science fiction guys have been talking about it for years, whether we see it in our lifetimes or not. I suppose the magic of what Elon Musk is doing is he's, again, allowing us to dream. A little bit like Steve Jobs turned dreams into computing reality. Elon Musk is now saying, let's dream a bit, let's think out of the box a little bit, let's see what is possible.
Something will happen. Even the Hyperloop, he wants to do it between San Francisco and Los Angeles. So if it doesn't go all the way, somewhere along the line, they will try it on maybe a shorter route. You know, as we were saying, it's like the pneumatic tubes that you used to have from John Oars, and his mom used to shop there in Pretoria. But, you know, where these things go
But just explain to anybody who doesn't understand the John Oars things you're talking about. There were wires across these big department stores, and these tubes would, the wires in birches, they didn't have the tubes.
Didn't they have tubes? No, that's old fashioned. Tubes were tubes. These were pneumatic tubes.
You see,
and it would come out there, and then you would roll it open, put the money in, etc., send it to the cashier, and
exactly.
Beautiful.
No, those were the olden days. So the Hyperloop is based on that same concept.
Same concept.
The idea of shooting people at 760 miles an hour down a stainless steel tube.
And if you've seen the pictures, you have to lie down like this. I think because it goes so fast, you basically have to be naked, right? And it's going to be powered by the customers' screens as they fly through the... look, and the rail thing, it's not the train is not the problem, it's building the pipe. Because we've seen, even, you know, in California, things just don't get done.
But where he'll do it. He'll do it on a small test. You know, that's why, and that's where you've got to hand it to him. He's made the money, but he's not scared to spend it. He's like a Chris Becker, you know, just loves to reinvest and look for new things.
The difference is Chris Becker is actually making a return.
Yes, eventually. But you've got to hand it to Elon Musk. Just a wonderful character.
But the concept of a reusable rocket. I mean, we grew up in the 1960s. You would remember the moon landings better than Paul and I would, David. Although Paul, I think, has got some grainy images embedded in his mind somewhere.
July 1969, yeah.
But here we've got those, and the rockets were disposable. They flew up into the sky, and bits fell off, and they were never bothered. Nobody bothered to retrieve the bits and pieces. And there was some YouTube footage the other day of this rocket going up, being manipulated and managed, and then being brought back down to Earth. I mean,
so this is SpaceX. Yeah.
That is SpaceX, and that is probably the most likely project is space tourism.
Yes, and also launching of satellites, because the expense, as you say, is mostly to get it up, and then you jettison the parts, and they burn up on re-entry. So that's definitely
it's the R&D, you know, and that's what I love about America.
It's the accidental discoveries that come with it. Yeah,
exactly. It's the R&D, and America. If you look at America, I think they spend even in IT. They spend like 3-4 times more than any other nation, even big nations, on research and development. And that's what pushes them ahead and will always keep the US economy just pumping along.
So he's mad, but wonderfully mad.
Absolutely.
I wonder if there'll ever be a James Bond villain based on Elon Musk.
Well, as David was saying, some people think that the Robert Downey Jr. character in Iron Man is based on Elon. And they make the comparisons.
I think it was on one of his concepts. It was I think the iron suit that he had, I think was an Elon Musk concept, and I leave that open to people to answer that. I think that's genuinely...
I like how he is putting forward the idea that these big, hairy, audacious projects can be privately funded.
Yes.
Because the mindset in emerging markets, and certainly in this country, is certainly that anything big has to be done by the government. But he's saying, these things can be funded privately.
And tragically, he's had to go to the United States to realize that dream. He's not doing it here.
Yeah, he didn't really have a very enjoyable time as a young person growing up in Pretoria. I grew up in Pretoria at the same time. I can relate to that. And he didn't enjoy really school and all of that. So he skipped as soon as he could get out of here. So I think these are his roots, but he is very much an American citizen these days.
Well, he hasn't changed. He's not like Sol Kersner. He's still got South African accents.
Sol Kersner, what a legend. Best performing share of the week, which was it over the last 5 days?
Had to be a gold share.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Something more concrete than that.
PPC.
PPC.
Seen this, yes, PPC.
PPC up 12.5% over the last week. My 5-year-old had a conversation with me the other day to tell me I need to be home earlier. I shouldn't be doing TV shows late at night. And his solution for me to be home earlier was to go and work in a cement factory. And when I told him I didn't know what to do and I wouldn't know how to make cement, he told me there were bound to be instructions and all I had to do was learn them. So I've been told. So I may not be doing this for much longer.
Why a cement factory? What is the fascination?
I have absolutely no idea.
Factory?
But that was his choice. So PPC.
They had results, but I mean, it's been a disappointment over the recent years. I always thought
PPC
would do better than the construction companies.
PPC was unbundled
better
from
margins.
Barlow World.
Barlow World, exactly.
And it listed at 50 Rand a share. It was paying special dividends at a huge rate.
It got to 50, right?
Yeah.
It came off, remember,
It
did a
was even
10 for
more
1
than that.
consolidation, but its high was 52, 53, and it languishes today at like 30.
Yeah.
Waiting for the recovery in cement sales, but
And you've got competition coming now in Sepaku.
that's another issue.
Which is also going to mean more capacity coming onto the market.
Yeah, but the other big performers in the week: Sibanye, Lonmin, RB Platts, and Amplat. So the platinum shares have bounced back nicely. The platinum price through $1,500 an ounce. It's coming up to the first anniversary of the Marikana shootings. Of course, there's a lot of emotion around that. Is the supply of platinum more secure now, perhaps?
I'm not convinced. I'm still very negative on platinum shares. I think that I think this has really been pushed along by the view that Europe is turning around, and therefore the demand for platinum is going to go. But there's plenty of platinum above the ground. I still think there are a couple of years' supply before we start to see
and a huge amount of
shortage.
recycling happening.
But it's not only that. Even if you looked at Northam's results today, good results, but the warnings about what lies ahead, and I think that's where you have to focus on. If they felt confident about costs, about labour, in fact in Northam they warned about labour issues next year in 2014. So I get very concerned about mining in South Africa, and for that reason I think maybe this was a trade rather than a time to buy.
I had been on the road to Sun City in years, and I recently went on that road to Sun City. I just can't believe the expansion at Marikana, at the big turn off to Marikana. Suddenly there are mines right on the road, where previously you'd see the mines in the distance. There is a lot of mining activity happening. I mean, regardless of how tough the times
You've got
are,
to fund it. You still got to fund a lot of that, and I don't think at the current price of platinum that these are fundable. And I just draw attention to what Chris Griffith said about Anglo Plat. The cost of Plat at their mine, 17,000 Rand an ounce.
Yeah.
Current platinum price maybe
$1,500.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's more expensive to dig the stuff out. Let's look at some of the losers. I'm most interested in the biggest loser of the week, which is Massmart. It's down about 8% on the week. A disappointing trading update. Is this the Walmart dream not coming to fruition?
No, it's sort of. We own lots of these, so we've watched them sort of drift around. Look, it's very expensive currently, the share is, but you must understand its shareholders are now almost entirely offshore, and they don't care. Walmart doesn't care, and neither do all the US institutions that followed Walmart into that share, because they believe that group is going to dominate African retail in the years ahead. And I think they could be right. I think they're in the sort of hold phase now while they gear up, and so the earnings will come.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think that there's a concern. We expected more from them in the short term. I'm not I'm not criticizing Paul. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But in the short time, I thought we thought there'd be more evidence that the Walmart view is starting to hold, and we're seeing more of Walmart. And I think that they're a bit slow. And if you take those results, on a similar basis, taking out the exchange gains, they were disappointing. So I think people say, hold on a sec, ShopRite, yeah, Whitey said, bring on the competition, let's go with Whitey.
Okay. You're sticking with Whitey. Would you go with Whitey or would you go with
We like
Whitey?
that one too, because I like all of those shares. But remember, Massmart does have these other models in there. So Builder's Warehouse, which is like a Home Depot. It's got Dion Wyatt in there, so it's got some nice businesses. It's got Cambridge,
Have you
which
ever
is
bought
exciting
anything
division.
from Dion Wyatt?
I have. Look,
Have
I
you?
mean,
Dion Wyatt?
No.
Online? No.
not online, but I've been to the stores. Look,
I've been to the stores all the time, but I just get overwhelmed and walk out because they're men trying to
too
sell
many
me things.
TVs.
Too many TVs, too many pictures.